Ever feel like you're hustling, really giving it your all, but success is still like playing hide and seek,
Yeah.
as if everyone else got some secret cheat code that you missed?
Yeah, I think we've all been there. It's easy to get caught up in that feeling like there's some hidden playbook for success that we just haven't found yet.
Well, today on the deep dive, we're kind of flipping that script, right? We're diving into the playbook that maybe nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
The one that's all about the hard truths.
Right, exactly. The stuff that might sting a bit, but it's important to hear.
So we're digging into this awesome, maybe a little brutal podcast episode. It's called Wake Up, the harsh truth about success no one tells you.
Catchy title?
Right. Totally grabbed my attention. And our mission basically is to break down 5 core realities about reaching those goals, the things that a lot of the, more feel-good stuff kind of skips over.
Yeah, I think it's so important to look at those less glamorous aspects of success because those are often the things that are actually tripping people up.
Totally. So think of this as your straight-talking guide to why progress can feel like an uphill battle, and more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Love that. No sugarcoating here.
Absolutely not. So first up, let's jump into brutal truth #1. No one cares about your excuses. And look, that might sound super harsh right off the bat,
It does have a certain bite to it, doesn't it?
but this podcast doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
It hits you right between the eyes with it.
Yeah.
And basically the point is the world keeps spinning, right? Regardless of what personal hurdles you might be facing.
It's a reality check for sure.
Totally. So things like not having, I don't know, a trust fund from your parents, or a rough childhood, or maybe feeling like you don't have enough support.
All valid and challenging experiences, of course.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
But the episode argues that those things, while difficult, they don't give you a free pass from the whole, making progress thing.
It's a tough message to hear, but there's a lot of truth to it.
Right. And what I found really interesting is how the podcast kind of highlights this difference between recognizing real struggles,
Right.
acknowledging those hardships, but not letting those hardships become a reason to just, give up.
Absolutely. There's a subtle but powerful distinction there. It's easy to fall into the trap of using our past or present difficulties as reasons why we can't achieve something.
Totally. But it's like, on the flip side, the source is saying, look at people who are successful, right? No matter where they started, they often tend to focus on finding ways forward, despite or sometimes even because of
Yep.
those challenges.
Exactly. It's about shifting your mindset from feeling like a victim of circumstance to realizing you have the power to act, to make choices, to find solutions. It's agency.
And the podcast asks this question, straight up, are you making excuses or are you making progress? And man, that just makes you stop and think.
It's a powerful question because it forces you to be brutally honest with yourself.
It is. It's like when you find yourself explaining why you can't do something, is that explanation a real roadblock? Or is it a way of avoiding the discomfort of trying?
Right. And that self-awareness is so crucial. If you want to make progress, you have to be able to recognize those moments where you might be falling back on excuses rather than actively seeking solutions.
And this leads us right into brutal truth, #2, which honestly might be even more mind-blowing for some folks. Motivation is a lie.
Now that's a statement guaranteed to raise some eyebrows.
Right. Because we're constantly bombarded with these messages about, find your passion, stay motivated, wait for inspiration.
It's the classic self-help narrative.
But this source, this episode, it's saying, no, waiting for that feeling. It's actually setting you up for failure.
Yeah, and there's a good reason for that. Motivation is often tied to external things or how you're feeling at any given moment. And, well, feelings are fickle.
They change all the time, right?
Exactly. So the podcast is pointing out that if you wait for the perfect moment when you feel motivated, you might be waiting a long time. And meanwhile, nothing's getting done.
Exactly. And they give these really down-to-earth examples. Training for a marathon when your body's screaming for rest, or slogging through a work project even when you're totally uninspired, or putting in those hours behind the scenes when it feels like nobody's even noticing.
It's about pushing past those feelings of resistance and doing the work anyway.
And it's not about getting pumped up, it's about commitment.
And this is where discipline steps in. And discipline isn't some hardcore grit your teeth and bear it thing.
Yeah.
It's more about building those routines, those habits that let you stay on track even when you don't feel like it.
So it's more like autopilot.
In a way, yeah. Think about brushing your teeth. You do it every day because you know it's important, not because you're super excited about it.
Makes sense. It's
Yeah.
just part of the routine.
Yeah, right, exactly. And the podcast is saying that Real, lasting success, it's built on that consistent effort, not on, those fleeting bursts of motivation.
So it's more about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it.
That's the key. And then the source asks you this question: what's one habit you can commit to daily, even when you don't feel like it? And I love this question because it's so actionable. It's not asking you to overhaul your entire life overnight.
Just one small thing.
Exactly, just one small, consistent action that moves you towards your goal.
Small steps.
Because those small steps add up over time. And by focusing on that one habit, you're creating momentum. Each time you successfully do it, no matter how small it is, it reinforces your ability to take action and it builds confidence.
So it's like a snowball effect.
It can be, yeah. And that confidence can then spill over into other areas of your life.
And that takes us perfectly into brutal truth, #3. You are your habits. So the podcast gets really direct here. It's basically saying, look, your everyday actions, the things you do on repeat, that's the most accurate way to predict your future.
It's about understanding that your daily choices have a huge impact on the direction of your life.
And it's not just about the big decisions, right? It's those
Yeah.
little everyday choices that really add up.
Exactly. The source does this great job of contrasting, like spending hours scrolling social media or just complaining versus taking that same time to learn something new, work on a project, something like that.
It's like same amount of time, completely different outcomes.
Over time, those seemingly insignificant daily habits, they compound and they create entirely different realities.
And it's like a wake-up call, right? If
Yeah.
you don't like where you're headed, take a good look at your daily routine.
And the podcast, it doesn't sugarcoat it. It throws out this question: what's one bad habit you need to eliminate today?
Wow, today.
It's about creating a sense of urgency, like right now. It encourages you to pick one specific behavior that's holding you back and start tackling it.
So just starting, even a tiny step towards breaking a bad habit can create a big shift.
It's about shifting momentum in a more positive direction.
Okay, ready for brutal truth, #4.
Hit me.
No one will believe in you until you succeed. Ouch. This one can be tough to hear, especially for people who thrive on positive feedback or need support from others.
Yeah, it definitely challenges that need for external validation.
Totally. Because the podcast gets real about the fact that doubt from others, it often just comes with the territory. It's part of the journey.
It's a natural part of pursuing anything worthwhile. People can be uncomfortable with change, and your ambition might trigger their own insecurities.
It's like sometimes it's not even about you, it's about them.
Right. It's their own stuff coming up. But the podcast is saying, while having a supportive network is great, waiting for other people to believe in you before you take action, that can be a huge roadblock.
It can hold you back from even starting.
Exactly. So the source is saying, instead of trying to convince everyone else, focus your energy on the work, on getting results.
Let your actions speak for themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's something really powerful about that quiet determination to just do the work and let the results speak for themselves.
I love that. It's like you don't need to shout it from the rooftops, just get it done.
And what I find so empowering about this perspective is that it frees you from needing constant approval from others. When you focus on the work and let your achievements be your validation, you build this inner resilience, this strong self-belief that isn't dependent on what other people think.
You're not looking for their permission anymore.
Right, exactly. And the source sums it up perfectly. Stop seeking validation. Start doing the work. So simple, but so profound.
And then finally, we get to brutal truth, #5. And this one brings in a huge factor. The clock is ticking. We all get the same 24 hours in a day, but man, do we use them differently.
That's the heart of it. It's about realizing that time is a finite resource. You can't get it back once it's gone.
And the podcast lays it out really starkly, comparing how some people spend those 24 hours distracted, scrolling, whatever, versus others who are using that same time to build something they care about.
It's about opportunity cost. Every moment spent on one thing is a moment you can't spend on something else. And are you spending your time on the things that truly matter to you?
And it really makes you think because, life is short, right?
Yeah.
And this episode reminds you that every day you waste is a missed chance to create the future you want.
It's a bit of a harsh truth, but it's also a powerful motivator.
It is. It's a reminder to be more intentional. And then the source asks, are you wasting time or are you building the future you want?
That question really cuts to the core, doesn't it? It forces you to be honest with yourself about how you're spending your most valuable resource.
It is. It's time for some serious self-reflection. So there you have it, 5 brutal truths about success, straight from the source.
No punches pulled.
It's a lot to take in, right? It might feel like a bit of a reality check, but maybe that's what some of us need to get moving in the right direction.
I think so. This source, it's so valuable because it's direct and it's honest about the fundamentals of achieving anything worthwhile. It's
Yeah.
not about being negative, it's about being realistic and empowered.
And it ends with this awesome call to action. No more waiting, no more excuses, no more wasted time. That pretty much sums it all up.
It's the essence of those five truths distilled into one powerful statement.
And then it asks, which truth hit you the hardest? That's a great question for reflection.
It's a way to identify the area where you might need to focus your energy right now. What resonated most with you?
Yeah, it's like what made you a little uncomfortable, what felt most true, and use that to make a change. And I love how this source wraps up with this thought, your future self is watching. Make them proud.
Beautiful way to end it.
It's not about impressing other people, it's about respecting yourself, knowing you're doing your best.
And as you're thinking about all this, think about what would happen if you made even small, consistent changes. Address one bad habit, commit to one daily discipline, be more mindful of how you spend your time.
Little things adding up.
Exactly. Those small shifts can lead to huge results over time. Your future self will thank you for the choices you're making today. And it all starts with acknowledging these truths and deciding to act despite them. It's about taking ownership of your journey, your success, and your future.